There is not longer a doubt that politics is the only factor that is driving the world today. My name is Solomon John Magaji, and I'm welcoming you to this Time Out with Barrister Kefas Magaji, the flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, representing the good people of Das, Tafawa Balewa and Bogoro Federal Constituency in the Green Chamber. Now, who is Barrister Kefas Magaji?
Well, let me thank you too for the opportunity to have this interaction with you. My names are Barrister Kefas Musa Magaji. I was born in Tafawa Balewa, and I started my primary school in 1968 in Tafawa Balewa. I thereafter went to Government Secondary School Darazo in 1975. I finished in Government Secondary School Darazo in 1980. And in 1981, I went to University of Medjugorje. I finished in 1985. In 1985, I went to Nigerian Law School, and I was called to the Nigerian Barr in 1986. I served in Ibadan in the firm of Femi Kende & Co., a private legal practitioner, and thereafter I returned to Bauchi, where I joined Suleiman Uruna & Co., and I continued with private practice until 1999, when 1999-2000, when I went to Nigerian Law Reform Commission, where I was appointed as Commissioner of the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. I served for the first time 5 years as a Commissioner. My tenure was renewed for another 5 years. And in the second term, I became the Chairman of the Commission. When I completed my tenure with the Commission, I returned to Bauchi, and that was in 2019. That was when His Excellency Senator Barr became the governor of Bauchi State. We did a little campaign together and became the governor. I was appointed as a caretaker chairman for Tafawa Balewa in July 2009. And I continued there for about 9 months. Thereafter I resigned, I came back, I was appointed as special advisor to the governor on legal matters. I continued until April this year, when I resigned to contest for House of Representatives to represent the Tafawa Balewa constituency, Tafawa Balewa Federal Constituency.
Have you ever cared to ask what could be the achievement of that said person that wants to represent you in the National Green Chamber? That is the National Assembly. Not to worry, we have done that on your behalf. And this is what he has to say.
Well, first of all, I spent most of my life in private legal practice. And because of the legal practice, I did a lot of cases, both political cases, communal cases, and commercial cases, and other cases that are most common within this environment. Because I started my practice in Gombe, then I came back to Bauchi, where I remained until when I was appointed Commissioner with the Nigerian Law Reform Commission. That apart, I have had the opportunity to hold some other positions. In 1992-93, I was elected to the Bauchi State House Assembly. By 1993, that was when Abacha, Babangida was first the head of state, then he handed over to Shonikan, and thereafter Abacha stroke, did a coup and took over government. I was in the House of Assembly when Abacha stroke, and who were the ones that our administration was truncated. Thereafter, I returned to my private legal practice I was appointed member of Tatarali Governing Council, Tatarali Botanic Governing Council, that's the state botanic here in Bauchi. I was a member of the Nursing Council. I was a member of the state, so many other state boards and parastatals. Then in 2000, I was appointed member, Governing Council, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. On completion of my 4 years tenure in Nsukka, I was appointed member of the visitation panel to Federal Botanic Nekede. It was after I had finished my tenure. Well, the visitation panel was just for about a month or two. When we returned, I continued with my legal practice, then subsequently, I now went to the Nigerian Law Reform Commission.
Being a vibrant lawyer by profession and still an active politician, how is that possible for him to combine?
Well, the interesting thing is, if you look around, most of the prominent politicians are lawyers. The reason is just to enable you know where your rights and the rights of the community starts, and you know when their rights ends. So it is easier for you to be in politics and to be able to mobilize the people well. Now, as a private practitioner, I joined politics, partisan politics, in 1999 when PDP, SDP, well, let me not say from 1999. In 1992, when I was in private practice, that was when it was NRC, SDP then. That was when I was invited by my community to come and contest for House of Assembly. I did. Thereafter, after the coup, as I said, I went back to the legal practice. In 1999, when PDP and the NPP and some of those parties that came up, I joined the PDP, but I strictly served in the legal department, not as a legal advisor, but I was, there is the de jure and there is a de facto. They had a legal advisor, but I was doing the cases for the PDP all through, and that continued for a very long time until when I had to leave here to go to Abuja. Otherwise, for all those times, I was still doing court cases for the PDP.
Our team couldn't help it out to ask this a very important question, that what should the people expect from him if he emerged to the National Assembly? And this is also what he has to say on this regard.
You see, first of all, when I came up as the caretaker chairman, I had just returned from Abuja as the chairman, Nigerian Law Reform Commission, which is a federal parastatal. And people felt, why should I demean myself to go and take a position of the caretaker chairman of a local government? Like I've told everybody who has cared to listen, the idea to go to Tafawa Balewa as the caretaker chairman was born out of the fact that, first of all, I was born and bred in Tafawa Balewa. And by that period, I knew how Tafawa Balewa had become. And that the problem in Tafawa Balewa started since 1991 crisis. Since then, there hasn't been stability, there hasn't been that complete peace in the environment. And when I came back and I was offered the position of the chairmanship of the caretaker, I told myself, possibly this is an opportunity that I will now contribute my quota in trying to restore peace. Like I've told everyone, my desire has always been, how do I restore peace back to the place I was born? My desire all through is, I look forward to a time that I'll go to my own place where I was born. I can interact with people freely, I can sleep, I can stay, I can do everything just like any other person does. I want a situation where I will invite my friends, Yoruba friends, Igbo friends, Kanuri friends, Sokoto friends, to come to my place and stay and relax. But unfortunately, that has eluded us. So I told myself, this should be an opportunity that we could repair some of the damages that has been done. I went to Tafawa Balewa with that mission, and that was what I did, to see how we can restore peace back to that environment.
Now, it is not without that our discussion with him has proven that he is loaded. He has a lot to bring to the table. But a very important issue that he raised, which is actually the issue of peace, because he understands that to do that which he plans to do without the presence of peace, that could not be achieved. And he has a call to all sons and daughters of his constituency in order to see the need for peace. This is his words on this.
Thank you so much. That is a very good question. First of all, you see, the desire of every human being is that he should improve in whatever status he is. The desire of a community is to see that there is improvement in infrastructure, there is an improvement in social life, there is an improvement in every facet of his life. And like I said, because our area has been bedeviled with this crisis, there is mutual suspicion in the community, and therefore that has impeded development in the area. The whole place as it was about 15 years ago, if you get there, you discover the changes are few. And with development going on all over the world, our community cannot afford to remain static. And it was for that reason I now took up the challenge. My experience as a caretaker chairman for 9 months, like I've told everybody who knows and who has also cared to listen, at the time I took over, in Tafawa Balewa town, there were no Muslims. Sawa Muslim was not in Tafawa Balewa. Jara Muslim was not in Tafawa Balewa. Fulani Muslim was not in Tafawa Balewa. But Sawa Christian, Angas Christian, Bajari Christian, Fulani Christian were all in Tafawa Balewa. In Bununu, which is the local government headquarters, Christians do not stay there. Once you're a Christian, if you are Bajari Christian, you don't stay in Bununu. If you are Bafulatani Christian, you don't stay in Bununu. If you are Basai Christian, you don't stay in Bununu. No Christian stays there. And I told myself, how can we stay this way in this age? Told myself, it is not right. And we cannot continue that way. As long as the community remains that way, then certainly you know that development is not there and cannot be there. Every community today are going out inviting investors. But we cannot go out to go and invite investors, because when you are inviting an investor, the investor could be a Muslim, it could be a Christian, he might not even belong to any of the religions. Now, if he comes, he doesn't know where to stay. Does he stay among the Christians or does he stay among the Muslims? But an environment that is mixed up, everybody is free, then certainly you know that investors will come. No wonder, if you go to Tafawa Balewa Bununu Bogoro Access, you see there are army of unemployed youth, that they are roaming the streets and they are becoming wild. The reason is simple. It is not their fault, but they are victims of circumstance. I told myself, the time has come that we must change the narratives. And changing the narrative is simple. Creating an environment that everybody will feel free, that there will be a mutual interaction between Christians, Muslims, Sawas, non-Sawas, Jarawas, Fulanis, and others. We should begin to believe in ourselves. We should begin to interact so that we can have an environment that we can invest. As it is today, in those two areas, a salesman does not invest in Tafawa Balewa because he's afraid anything can happen. A Muslim does not invest in Bununu because he's afraid anything can happen. But by the time we now begin to interact, people can now come and invest. Indeed, I had the opportunity of interviewing some people who are indigents of Tafawa Balewa and other areas, to ask them whether they can come home or they're anxious to come home and invest. Everybody turned down and said, I cannot go and invest in that environment. I can't take my sweat and go and put where it may be destroyed the next day or the next year or the following year. And My desire, therefore, to go into politics is to now see what can we do to change the narratives. I attempted it in the 9 months I was there as chairman, and it worked. And like I've always told people, an angel cannot come to change the narratives in that place. No evil man can come and change the relationship. No Yoruba man can come and do. No Hausa man from Kano, Sokoto, or anywhere can do. We must agree among ourselves that we can change the story. We can change our living pattern. And that is the only way that we can begin to think about development. In this, when I took over as chairman in Tafawa Balewa, if you go to primary school, where it is in Sawa dominated areas, the entire pupils are Sawa children. The teachers are also Sawas. If you go to a place where it is Fulanis, the pupils and the teachers are all Fulanis. When you go to a place where it is Jarawas, the entire pupils and teachers are all Fulanis. Now, how can you develop in that kind of an environment? We came up, we grew up, we went to schools in Tafawa Balewa where you see the Buraman, you see the Kanuri man, you see all forms of tribes in either the same class as students or as pupils or as teachers. Because these children are growing up to meet with the larger community. Because we expect that these children should go to the universities. In universities, you meet all sorts of people there. You meet Indians, you meet Italians, you meet Germans that are all there. But if you are coming up from a society where it is you are Basei and your teachers are Basei and you have not had the opportunity to interact with any other until when you get there, certainly you are going to a strange world. And I think for us to create a strange world for ourselves and for our children that are coming up, it's not fair. My desire, therefore, is first of all to restore peace back to that environment. If we are able to restore peace, then certainly there will be greater interaction among the groups, the tribes, the communities. And it is then people can now begin to invest. Indigenous will first invest and will begin to invite non-indigenous to now come and invest. Bauchi State today goes out to look for Chinese, to look for Indians, to look for Americans and Germans and all others to come and invest in Bauchi. We can also begin to do it if we create that environment for strangers to come and invest. My desire, therefore, is to use these 4 years, if God grants me this opportunity, to change the narratives by creating that environment for everyone to believe that I can go to Tafawa Balewa, I can go to Bununu, I can go to Bugoro at any time of the day, at any time of the night. Yes, we have cases of bandits, we have cases of armed robbers and some of those ones. But I believe that these are matters, it's a matter of time. I don't believe that these things will last forever. It is just a season. The problems in Tafawa Balewa, Bugoro, that's access. Yes, we have these problems of banditry, but that is not our problem. The problem is the mutual relationship amongst the peoples, among the tribes, among the religions. If we are able to do this, then certainly we can be able to face the monster. We can be able to face the banditry very well. Like I stayed for the 9 months I stayed, I provided motorcycles for for vigilante group, and they were going from nook and cranny of the local government. I provided Hilux vehicles for security agents, and we created a relationship. There was synergy between the vigilante and the security agencies, that they were able to control the situations. If we can sustain that relationship, if we can create awareness even among our traditional rulers to ensure that they checkmate people that comes and settle, and we have a database from village to village of people who are coming to settle and where they're coming from and some of those details, certainly we'll be able to address these issues. So I believe that I have the capacity to ensure that peace returns to the environment. And once we're able to restore peace, I tell you, these youths that we think they are wasting, we can be able to regain some and get some back. Because it's a matter of If the environment for them to be comfortable is created, we can be able to now look for facilities, and we can be able to see how we can re-engineer them. There are some of them, they are living the way they are living because they have nothing to do. But I tell you, by the time people go and invest, you have block molding machines everywhere. You have grinding machines everywhere. You have bakeries everywhere. You have so many of these, it will absorb some of these things. If you go to Tafawa Balewa today, it's an Igbo man that has a standard filling station. We should be able to have about 2-3 points. We have gas stations, and you go to some of those places. By the time we are able to fix some of these things in place, I tell you, people are building everywhere. People are making blocks every day. People are doing some of those businesses. People are opening shops here and there. You discover these youths will be absorbed. And once they are absorbed, it is then you can now do the process of trying to remold them. You see, let me tell you straight. All the communities, particularly in Tafawa Balewa, where I was the chairman, they are interested in peace. The only thing is they want somebody who can drive the process. Let me tell you, when I went as caretaker chairman, like I explained to you the way our schools and some of those things were, I took time and I invited all the hamlet heads. I brought them, well, we have 2 districts in Tafawa Balewa. I invited all the district heads of Lere district in one hall. And I told them, Fulani people, I will begin to send our teachers to your communities. If a teacher comes back to tell me that he has been touched, anything has happened to him, then you, the traditional ruler, will dethrone you and will also prosecute you. I told our traditional rulers, I will send Fulani teachers to your place, either as teachers or health workers or agric officers. If anybody returns and tells me that anything has happened to him, we will dethrone you and will prosecute you. I tell you, after I did that, we had a mixture of teachers. We transferred them to different places. And for the entire time, for the rest of the time I was there, I never got a complaint that there is any problem. Now, what I'm trying to say is, over the years, fears has built in amongst the people. They want peace, but there's nobody that can tell them it is possible to stay in peace. And everybody has, as every community has, as a result, remained within its cocoon. But the little attempt I made changed the narratives. Today, as I tell you, if you go to Tafawa Balewa, there are 2 small mosques are built. Muslims pray in those mosques. They come, they do their normal trading, they sleep in Tafawa Balewa. If you go to youth center, there's a place they call youth center in Tafawa Balewa. They will do their tailoring shop, they will do some of this, their training. When it's night time, they will go to the youth center and sleep. And they discovered that they are free. And all that we are working on, all that I was working on, was to see how the Muslims begin to build houses in Tafawa Balewa. And it's the same thing. If you go to Bogoro, there are Muslims there. No, nothing is happening to them. If you go to Boy, there are Muslims there. They have their mosque and others. And I also ensure that in Bununu, a church was built. There was no church in Bununu, but there is a church. It is now to encourage people to now say, look, Christians, you can build houses in Bununu. Nothing will happen to you. If they now go to church freely, nothing has happened. I believe that by the time they begin to build houses, they begin to interact. So what I'm trying to say is, the different communities in the areas, they want peace. But they need a driver that will tell them, do it, nothing will happen to you. Like I've always told people, if you go to Tafawa Balewa today, the farmland in Burga area, in Bula area, it is all invaded by Sawas. Sawas are farming, but before that, if you know the geography of Tafawa Balewa very well, from Tafawa Balewa, if you are going to, after the police station, get into the railway. The railway line was the last point a Sawa man can go. If he crosses the rail line, whatever happens to him, it is his cup of tea. You go to Bununu town, you go to Gital town, you go to Burga, you go to Mbal, you go to all those axes. The Sawas have taken over the farmlands. And it is peace that has brought this. So it tells you the Fulani man is interested in peace. The Jarman is interested in peace. the salesman is interested in peace. The Angas is interested in peace. If all these people are interested in peace, it's just the enabling environment to tell them you can settle. Nothing will happen to you, and they can settle, and peace will return. That is what I intend to provide.
And now, the controversial Air Force University built inside the town of Tafawa Balewa. The question is, why is it being built? For who? And why still being left in the mercies of grasses and animals? Let's have his view on this educational infrastructure that looks like an abandoned effort.
You see, if you look at, we now have a building called the Air Force University, Tafawa Balewa. And it is the cry of everybody within that axis for that university to take off. But it has not taken off. You see, so many people will blame either the Minister of Education for the inability of the institution to take off, or some other powers that be for the inability of the institution to take off. But I've always told myself, and I've always told my people, that no, we're the people who are responsible for the non-take-off of the institution. And some people have asked me how, and I said simple. In Tafawa Balewa, essentially, we're Christians. Now, and I ask, how many people, if they hear today that there is a good school in any of the northeastern states, that there were Christians in the town, but there are no more Christians, but the institution is very good and is cheap, that will accept to send his child to that school? All the people said no. I said exactly that is the position with the Air Force University. There were Muslims in Tafawa Balewa. There are no longer Muslims. If that institution takes off, Muslims will be required to send their children to that school as students. There are Muslims that will be going there as administrative staff. There are Muslims that will be going there as teaching staff. And anybody who is posted there and he is told that there were Muslims in town, but there are no longer Muslims in that town, who will accept to go? No parent will accept to send his ward to Air Force University that there are no Muslims. No relation will accept to allow his relation to go to Tafawa Balewa as a staff of Air Force University, whereas there are no Muslims in that place. All this boils down to what? We must create an environment for peace. It is then some of this infrastructure and some of these facilities, some of these services will take up. And like I've always told our people, if that university takes off, it will transform the fortune of that environment. Like I've always said, if a student wants to eat and he wants to make soup, he can't drive from Tafawa Balewa to Bauchi in order to buy onion. He can't drive from Tafawa Balewa to Bauchi in order to buy palm oil. He can't drive from Tafawa Balewa to Bauchi in order to buy masa to eat. They would all have to buy over there. And that money is going to people in Tafawa Balewa. Teachers that are coming will need houses to stay. They need places to rent. Students will also need houses to stay. They need places to rent. Because whatever foster facilities that is there cannot be enough for both the staff, the students, and others. They will have to build new houses there. They will have to rent houses there. This money is going to Tafawa Balewa and the Tafawa Balewa environment. Security men will be engaged. Cleaners might be engaged. And all these things, all these ones will be sourced from the local environment. This is another empowerment for the local indigents. Then we know that admission policy, there's a percentage that is left for the catchment area. It means that area will have a special consideration. That is also an advantage. And that school is also closer. There are parents that cannot afford to sponsor their children to go to Kaduna to go to school. But Air Force University is there for them. There are some people that cannot afford to pay children to go to Kano or Maiduguri or some of those places. The university is close by. So people, and like you know, Government no longer provides the kind of scholarship we enjoyed. And there are parents that are still as poor as my father was then. Because without scholarship, I wouldn't have read. And there are parents today that cannot afford to train their children. If the Air Force University is there, it reduces some of this cost. And therefore, the benefit the community stands to gain by that university taking off is enormous. And like we were saying, for me, you see, social interaction, like I've told people everywhere I've gone. If you look at Dubai, Dubai today is the most developing city on earth today. It is that city where everybody wants to go to Dubai. Check the percentage of Arabs in Dubai. Arabs are just about less than 20%. The entire 80% are other nationals. We must open up our environment for other communities, other tribes, other people to come and stay. Israel, if you check the percentage of Arabs in Israel, apart from other nationals, there are so many. I've gone to Israel twice. Most of my guides are even Arabs. They are not Jews. So anybody thinking that we can as a tribe, we can as a people, we can as a religion survive and survive well in this competing war, we are making some mistakes. We must open up our doors. And my posture has been, everybody, like I said, everybody aspires for development. But for you to develop, you must be open to new ideas. You must be open to strangers, to guests, to visitors. My mission for Tafawa Balewa, and when I say Tafawa Balewa here, I mean that's Tafawa Balewa, is to open up that environment. If you go to Das, they have an emirate. But the expansion in Das has not been as it is in other emirates. We want to see that place developed. We want to see where I was in Das. We want to see Tafshin people in Das. We want to see Tsawas in Das. We want to see Das people in Boy. We want to see Das people in Danum. We want to see Das people in Segdi. We want to see Das people scattered around. Because we are a family. We didn't know how God brought us together. But we are together. And if we are together, then we must tap the resources in each of us. Because each person has some defined resources that is for the benefit of a larger community. We must interact so that we can be able to tap these things together.
It is the aspiration of every leader to leave a lasting legacy, a footprint to be remembered for. Before we round up this discussion, we were able to ask this as well, that before he leaves office, that is after the expiration of his 4 years in office, what does he intend to have as his greatest achievements in record?
Certainly restoration of peace. If I can restore peace back to that environment, I'll be the happiest person.
We sincerely want to send our profound gratitude to Honorable Barrister Kefas Magaji for giving us this time out to speak issues that bothers the constituency. We also want to thank you for watching. I still remain yours, Solomon John Madaki, saying bye-bye.